Welcome to your new LUMIX S5IIX. This camera has been designed around you, the creator, and this video is designed to help you get started. Let's have a quick overview of the buttons and their functions. These two larger dials control all of the main function modes on your camera. Scrolling through the one on the left, we'll select different photo modes, starting with the single shot mode, then high-speed burst modes 1 and 2, high resolution mode, time-lapse mode, and self-timer mode. Scrolling through the dial on the right, we'll select the different ways the camera can operate within these modes. Starting with intelligent auto mode, where the camera will take care of all settings for you to expose your subject correctly. Program AE mode, where the camera will automatically set the shutter speed and the aperture value for the brightness of your subject. You can also use program shift to change combinations of shutter speed and aperture values while keeping the same exposure. Aperture priority mode, where you set the aperture you want and the camera will automatically adjust the shutter speed to suit it. Shutter priority mode, where you set the shutter speed and the camera will automatically adjust the aperture to suit it. Manual exposure mode, which leaves you in control of both aperture and shutter speed values. Creative video mode. This is a recording mode specifically for video recording in which you can use all video functions. In this mode, displays will be tailored to video recording. S&Q mode, which allows you to record smooth, slow motion video and quick motion video by changing the frame rate. C1 through C3 are custom modes where you can save all of your favorite modes and menus as a preset to come back to. To do this, simply customize the camera to your preference and then jump into the menu with the spanner icon, go down to the cog and select Save to Custom Mode. From here, you can choose which custom mode you want to save your preferences to. You'll notice that Custom Mode 3 actually has 10 sub-menus, which expands the total settings you can save to 12. Once saved, you can access your favorite camera settings anytime by switching the dial to the corresponding custom mode. This is super useful if you want to switch between specific and uniquely set up photo and video modes quickly. A quick tour around the camera from here, you'll see you have quick access to white balance, ISO and exposure compensation settings, as well as the shutter and record buttons and the front and rear dials. On pressing these buttons, the corresponding display will pop up on the monitor for making adjustments or viewing information. On the back of the camera, you'll see the menu and navigation buttons, the display button for cycling through different information panels, the Q button will trigger the customizable quick menu, the autofocus buttons, which we'll come back to, playback button, and the LVF button. Use the LVF button to change between having the monitor display always on, the LVF always on, or allowing it to auto switch between the two when you get close to the LVF sensor. On the sides, you will find the camera's inputs and outputs for microphone, headphones, USB-C, and full-size HDMI. And on the other side, you have your dual SD card slots. Now back to those autofocus buttons. Let's look at the dial first that shows MF, C, and S. Starting with MF, which stands for manual focus. This means the autofocus function is disabled and you will need to manually adjust the focus ring on the lens to change the focus. It's a good thing to note here that some lenses will also have an AF/MF button that can disable the autofocus mode. Sometimes this can be a switch, or with the LUMIX S Pro lenses, the actual focus ring which pulls in and out. C is a continuous focusing mode, which is great for moving subjects. S is a stationary focusing mode, which is good for shooting subjects that are not moving. This mode will focus once when the shutter button is half pressed. Pressing the center button with the grid icon will bring up the autofocus menu. From here, you can choose to have subject detection on or off, which autofocus area mode you want to use, as well as changing the autofocus area. The S5IIX has 4 subject types to choose from, which will tell the camera what you're trying to focus on. With human and animal subject types, you'll see a sub-menu that allows you to go a step further and choose which area of the subject you would like to put a priority on. A personal tip here is to use eye face body for humans unless you are definitely only shooting close-ups of the face. This is because the camera will automatically look for the human eye to put focus on in the eye face body option until it can't see it, and then it will switch to face or body. This will mean your subject is always in focus even if the eye can't be seen, for example when someone turns away from the camera. The focus area modes are tracking, full area, zone horizontal vertical, zone, one area plus, one area and pinpoint. These modes will change where in the frame the camera looks for the subject you have chosen. For example, if you choose full area, the camera will look across the entire frame for the subject, but if you choose one area, it will only look in the area box, which can be adjusted to any part of the frame. Tracking can be used to follow a particular subject across the frame and can come in super useful for those shots that involve moving subjects. If you want to use the camera in manual exposure mode, we would recommend turning on constant preview, which can be found under the cog icon in the menu in the monitor display section. This will show you a preview of the exposure you currently have set and can be a useful way to shoot while using manual mode. You may have heard about open gate or flexible framing with Lumix cameras, which is an excellent feature allowing you to use the entire sensor while recording. You won't find any menu items called open gate, but you can engage this feature in the recording quality options in the menu by scrolling through the different options and looking for the dimensions in the information. The S5IIX's sensor is in a 3:2 aspect ratio, so look for this in the menu information while scrolling, and this will give you a taller frame than the traditional 16:9, which is fantastic when you need to deliver edits for both vertical and horizontal platforms. While using OpenGate, you might find the frame markers particularly useful to make sure different aspect ratios are still looking good. There are a bunch of set ratios to choose from, or you can even create your own, as well as choosing the color for the frame and masking the outside of the frame by dimming the opacity. If you're a video shooter, you might find the red rec frame indicator a great feature to have, which makes it easy to see that you have actually, indeed, definitely, for sure, 100% pressed the record button. While you're here, you may want to check out the Log View Assist, which will allow you to monitor your log footage with a conversion LUT applied to the monitor, or the HDMI output, or both. Doing this will not affect the recorded footage. The capabilities of the S5IIX are vast, and therefore there are a lot of different menu items that cater for different aspects of the camera's functionality, far more than we have time to go through in this quick introduction video. But there is one last thing I wanted to leave you with. Once you get used to the camera's ergonomics and workflow, you might want to start customizing it to better fit your particular shooting style. The button and dial functions on this camera are very customizable, and you can easily change how they operate by going to the cog icon in the menu and looking for FN button set. Selecting this will bring up a diagram of all of the camera's buttons and their associated functions. From here, you can customize almost all of the buttons and their functions to suit your style, making your camera work for you in any situation. This can be useful if you're used to a camera operating in a certain way, or you find yourself always needing a particular feature or function quickly. I hope this introduction gets you excited to go out and start shooting with this incredible camera. Be sure to check out our YouTube or website for more tutorials, and don't forget to jump on Instagram and join the Lumix Australia community by following us at Lumix_AU and tagging us in the beautiful content you share.